Hi, friends. Today I want to tell you a new story. I hope you enjoy it. The wind howled outside the big glass windows of my father's lake house in Vermont. But the real storm was happening inside, in the dining room. Congratulations, Ryan, my father said, pushing a thick envelope across the table to my younger brother. You earned this. Inside it was everything. The house, the company, the hidden money. All his. I sat across the wooden table, 34 years old, but suddenly feeling like a kid again. My hands were cold as I tried to stay calm. Ryan didn't look at me. His lips were tight. He kept his eyes down. My stepmother played with her necklace, staring at the floor. Then my father looked at me. And you, Ava, he said sharply. You've always been a dreamer. Too soft to make it in the real world. My heart sank. There were 4 people in the room besides me, him, Ryan, my stepmother, and the lawyer, but I felt completely alone. He handed a stack of papers to the lawyer. Let's sign this. Dad, I said quietly. Please don't. He rolled his eyes. Save it, Ava. You left. You said you wanted to find purpose, remember? He made air quotes. You walked away to work in some clinic overseas. For what? No money, no title. Just wasted time. You never asked why I left, I whispered. You never cared. And I still don't, he said. Ryan stayed. Ryan was loyal. He gave you what you wanted, I said. But he wasn't honest. My father gave a cold laugh. That's just jealousy. The lawyer, Mr. Whitman, a gray-haired man, looked uncomfortable. He held the folder tighter. Actually, he said, clearing his throat. Before anyone signs, there's something you need to know. My father frowned. What is it? Mr. Whitman looked him in the eye. There's an amendment to the will, sealed 6 years ago. Your late mother asked for it. My heart jumped. My grandmother, the only one who truly believed in me. She used to say I had more strength in my silence than others had in shouting. What amendment? My father snapped. Mr. Whitman calmly took out a yellow paper from the folder. She signed this at her final notary visit. Her rule was that it must stay sealed unless you ever tried to cut Ava out. My father's face tightened. That's nonsense. She had no power to do that. She did, said Mr. Whitman more firmly now. She kept 51% ownership of Harvest Holdings until she passed away. You never challenged it. So legally, she had the right. Ryan shifted in his seat. My stepmother sat still, fingers touching her diamond necklace, her usual sign of control. Mr. Whitman looked at me. Miss Ava, do you want to read it or should I? I didn't move. My eyes were on the envelope in Ryan's hand, the one that held everything my father thought he controlled. Read it, I said. He opened the paper and began. If my granddaughter Ava Whitmore is ever judged unworthy by her father, I give her full power over my share of Harvest Holdings, starting right away. She will receive all voting rights. This will cancel any earlier deals about the business or family estate. Silence. Only the soft sound of rain on the windows, as if even the storm was waiting. What does that mean? My father shouted. It means, Mr. Whitman said, looking at me, your daughter now owns the majority. Nothing signed today can change that. My father stood up fast. His chair scraped loudly. This is insane. She doesn't know anything about running the company. Maybe not your way, I said, standing up too, voice steady. But I know how to lead, how to protect, how to build something good without hurting people. I stepped forward. You said I was useless, but I never needed your approval. I looked at Mr. Whitman. Let's move forward. We have work to do. Ryan stared down at the table. My stepmother opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but didn't. My father never sat back down. If you felt the power shift in that moment, don't forget to follow the channel, because what comes next will leave even her father speechless. But he didn't say a word. He just stood there, stiff, as the world he thought he controlled slipped away from him. The room was heavy with silence. It said more than yelling ever could. My father stayed standing, lips tight, jaw clenched. I saw a muscle twitch in his face. His knuckles were white from gripping the chair. And for the first time, I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Fear. Not loud fear. Quiet, deep fear of losing something he thought he'd never have to fight for. "Please sit," I said softly. I didn't say it to embarrass him. I wasn't here for payback. I only ever wanted one thing: respect. Still, he didn't move. Then Ryan finally spoke.
"Wait.
"This isn't fair." She left. He looked around, hoping someone would agree with him. She didn't want the business. She left to go help people or whatever. I built homes for women escaping abuse. I helped veterans find safe housing, I said calmly. I didn't run away. I ran toward something that mattered.
He scoffed.
"That's nice and all, but you don't know how to run Harborcrest." "I know enough," I said, staring him down. "Enough to know you've been hiding money using a fake company under your old roommate's name." Ryan's face turned pale. My stepmother gasped. "Ava, stop. This is family." "Was it family?" I asked, my voice shaking. "When you said nothing while he called me a failure. When he gave everything to Ryan and ignored the work I did." "You were never built for this world," she whispered. "No," I nodded. "You all made that clear." But Grandma didn't agree. Mr. Whitman cleared his throat. "Miss Ava, your grandmother didn't just leave you shares. She left one more thing, for this exact moment." He opened his briefcase and pulled out a small, old box. Inside was her gold compass. Under it, a folded letter with my name on it. My hands shook as I opened it. "My dearest Ava, if you're reading this, your father did just what I feared. Don't hate him. He was taught that power has to be loud. You were never weak. You were the quiet strength holding us together. This compass is yours now. No matter which way you go, I trust you to lead." Tears came, but I held them back. I looked at Mr. Whitman. "Let's continue." I signed the paper confirming I now had control. That's when my father finally spoke. "You think this makes you powerful?" he said in a low voice. "You think she gave you this because she loved you? She did it to hurt me." I looked at him, not as a daughter looking for love, but as a woman seeing the truth. "No," I said. "She did it because she believed in me. And she knew I'd use this power to build, not destroy." I walked out, holding my head high. Years of hurt falling away like dust. But what waited outside wasn't peace. It was a fight. Because power brings enemies, and Ryan wasn't done yet. I had just stepped into the hallway when I heard footsteps behind me. "Ava," Ryan called. I turned. His voice was calm, but his eyes were cold. "You don't have to do this," he said. "Do what?" "Push me out," he said with a shrug. "That's your next move, right?" "I haven't made any move," I said quietly. "I just stood up."
He laughed.
"You think signing a paper makes you strong? You don't have what it takes to lead." My heart beat faster, but I stayed still. "I'm not here to impress you, Ryan. I'm here to lead with honesty. Something this family forgot." He stepped closer. "I give you 2 months," he said. "Before you give up. The company's not a clinic, Ava, it's a fight." "No," I said, raising my chin. "It's a platform. And I'll use it to build, not break." "You're so naive," he said, shaking his head as he walked away. But the way he left stayed with me. His fists were tight, his shoulders stiff. He wasn't giving up. This was just the beginning. The next few days felt like a storm rolling in. News spread quickly. Ava Whitmore was back, and this time, she wasn't leaving. People said my name like I was a rumor. Some were hopeful. Others were scared. I didn't fire anyone. I didn't hold big meetings. I listened. And what I found was worse than I thought. Teams were pitted against each other. Promotions were based on loyalty, not hard work. Burned-out workers were ignored. This wasn't a business. It was a kingdom. And Ryan had followed the king's example. One day, I walked into the break room. Everyone went quiet. "Please," I said, holding up my hand. "It's your break.
Sit. Eat."
A janitor named Rosa stood up slowly. We weren't allowed to sit if Mr. Ryan came in. I paused. "That rule's gone." Her face softened. That night, I stayed late going through files. I found 3 broken budgets, a shady contract with a sketchy supplier, and a list of employees who were fired after speaking up. This wasn't just poor leadership.
It was decay.
If I didn't act soon, the blame would fall on me when everything crashed. The next morning, Ryan stormed into my office holding a folder. "You want to be CEO?" he said. "Let's see if you survive this." He dropped the folder on my desk. Inside, screenshots, emails, pictures. "These are fake," I said, flipping through them. "Can you prove it?" he smirked. "You really want to take me down?" "I want what's mine," he said through clenched teeth. "You were never supposed to win." I stood slowly. "I don't want to win, Ryan. I want to fix what you broke." He sneered. "I see power. You see weakness." Then he turned and walked out. And I realized this wasn't rivalry. This was war. But I had something Ryan didn't. The truth. Within 48 hours, the headline screamed, "New CEO accused in charity fraud. Family feud at Harborcrest Holdings. Ava Whitmore, legacy leader or liability." It didn't matter that it was all false. The public never waits for the truth. My inbox was flooded with PR alerts. My phone rang nonstop. Shareholders were already panicking. I had barely started, and I was already losing credibility. I told myself to stay calm. But late one night, locked in my office, I broke. Not loudly. Not messily. Just silent sobs, curled up on the couch. I wasn't crying because they didn't believe me. I was crying because maybe, just maybe, my father had been right. Maybe I wasn't cut out for this. Then came a soft knock on the door. I wiped my eyes quickly. The door opened anyway. Rosa stood there, holding a paper cup. "Thought you could use this." "You didn't have to," I whispered. "You look like you needed it," she said, walking in. "No one ever brought me anything when I cried in this room. So maybe someone should break the cycle." Something inside me cracked again, but in a gentler way. "Thank you," I said. She sat across from me. "Miss Ava," she said, "do you want to know the truth about your family?" I looked up, unsure. She nodded. "I've worked here 28 years. I've seen more than most. And I've seen what they hide." "You always looked me in the eye," Rosa said softly. I couldn't speak. My throat tightened. "You may feel alone now," she continued, "but you've got something they'll never have. Loyalty earned through kindness." I blinked, trying to steady my breath. "Why are you helping me?" "Because someone once helped me when no one else did," she smiled. "And because this company doesn't need another king. It needs a healer." The next morning, I walked into the boardroom with quiet resolve. I let them speak first, accusations, doubts, demands for resignation. One shareholder even threatened a lawsuit. When they were done, I stood. "If anyone here can prove those documents are real," I said clearly, "I'll step down today." Silence. Then I dropped the original reports onto the table, proof of Ryan's financial wrongdoing. "Hush money. Side deals." Then I turned on the projector. The footage played, Ryan entering a locked office, plugging in USB, transferring files. The timestamp matched when the forged documents had been created. No one spoke. "Truth matters," I said. But I didn't come here to destroy my brother. I came to repair what he broke. I turned to the company attorney. "My grandmother gave me this role. Not because I was perfect, but because I still believe in people, even those who hurt me. I'm not pressing charges," I continued. "But Ryan is suspended, and a full investigation will take place." There was stunned silence. Then Mr. Halpern, a retired board member, stood. "I doubted you," he said. "I thought you were just another idealist. But today, you reminded me why we built this company. It was about people, not power." And just like that, the energy in the room shifted. Ryan didn't return. But 2 days later, I received a letter in his handwriting. "Ava, I don't expect forgiveness. I didn't just want control. I wanted to be seen. I always thought you got the love I never did. Maybe you just earned it differently. Ryan." I folded the letter and placed it beside my grandmother's compass. Not every ending needs a sword. Some arrive in stillness. And some beginnings are born from grace. The office felt different now. Not quieter, more awake. It had been a month since the boardroom turned. The media retracted the false claims. Some tried to call it luck. But those who mattered saw the truth. Not because I shouted louder, but because I held the line with integrity. One person, though, still hadn't reached out. My father. No messages. No lawyers. Nothing. I assumed he'd vanished, to lick his wounds and blame the world. Until one Sunday morning I walked into my office. And there he was, sitting across from my desk. Hands folded, eyes dull. I had to see it, he said. See what? That you didn't burn it down. I said nothing. He looked older, tired. For once, not like a man in control, but like one who'd lost something that mattered. You were right, he said softly.
About me.
About Ryan. About how this place stopped being about people. I studied him, unsure if I could believe it yet. Why now? I asked. He pulled something from his coat. A photo. Me and Grandma. I was 12, covered in paint. She was laughing. She said you'd change this family, he whispered. I just didn't want to believe it. If I did, I said gently, it's because she believed in me. He nodded. I came to say something. Something I should have said long ago. He met my eyes. I'm sorry, Ava. For everything. Part of me wanted to say it was too late. But healing doesn't start with blame. It starts when someone finally breaks the cycle. So I nodded. Thank you. I just needed to say it before I ran out of time, my father said. Then don't. I replied gently. Fix what you can. It's not too late. He didn't respond. Just gave me one last quiet look before slipping out the door. 2 weeks later, Rosa stepped into my office with a folder. What's this? I asked. A list of every employee your father let go for speaking up, she said softly. Figured you'd want to see it. I opened the file, read every name. And then we sent out letters, each one an invitation to return. No questions asked. Not because I needed redemption, but because legacy isn't built on bloodlines. It's built on how you make people feel when you leave the room. Months passed. The company didn't look flashier. It looked warmer. Ryan never returned. But we met once for coffee. No apologies. No digging up the past. Just two siblings trying to understand each other. Maybe that was enough. My father kept his distance. But one day, I received a receipt, a 7-figure donation made in my name to the women's shelter, where I once worked. No note. No signature.
Just his quiet way of saying he was trying. And that was enough.
Because I didn't get revenge. I got something stronger. Respect.
Peace.
And a future no one could take away. Now, when I walk into that boardroom, I don't hear whispers. I hear footsteps of people who believe in me. All because one day, someone said I was nothing. And I proved them wrong without becoming them. If my story moved something in you, drop a comment below. Tell me what part hit hardest. Tell me what you would have done. I read every word because connection is what this journey has always been about. And if you're facing your own version of being underestimated, know this. You don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to stand steady in your truth. Subscribe to the channel if you believe in healing through strength and strength through kindness. Because sometimes the quietest ones carry the loudest legacies.